Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to be here for this IIG conference, that too on a very important topic. And I must thank Professor Sachidanand Sinha because he has been a long-time friend. And I also thank the organizing committee here who has extended all the help. Yeah, my profile is little dated because so much has happened after that. So anyway, that's not a big deal. But the point is, I just came back from the US 2 days ago, and I'm actually going through a disruption of a sleep cycle. And I was wondering whether I would sleep through my presentation. I hope you don't sleep through my presentation. So let us start with what I'm going to do is I don't want to go beyond 30 minutes. I want to follow the time schedule here. So I just want to, tell you about many of these things are known, but just to have a sort of introduction to what I'm going to talk, the major things.
Sorry, sir.
Is that, what this climate change is all about, what we understand, and through science. So recently, I hope, some of you have been reading and watching the news, international news. I was in the US that time when President Donald Trump went to the United Nations, and he said that the climate change is a con job, the greatest con job that is ever done, by the scientists or whatever he means by that. But he is wrong in the sense that there is a lot of science behind this, very serious science. So much of research has gone into it, and now we have found out the reasons for this and what are the causative factors of bringing about this climate change, globally speaking. So I was just trying to, think, why there was absolutely no opposition from the United Nations against this, which propagating fake news by the president of the strongest, the powerful country, which is actually wrong. Should have been pointed out by the delegates there that time. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that, this is a lot of science behind this. So, you understand that, there is a lot of solar radiation that is coming through the space onto the Earth, and some of them are reflected back. But because of the greenhouse, gases, most importantly, the carbon dioxide, this get reflected. Why the carbon dioxide, methane, and other, water vapor, and nitrous oxide. All this, has a particular molecular structure which actually, aids to this reflection back onto the Earth. Why is this not moving? It's moving. Yeah, next slide.
Yes, sir, you can go with this. Yes,
okay, so the carbon dioxide, as I mentioned earlier, is the most important role in increasing the warming of Earth, the increase in temperature. So what happened, in the previous decades, probably starting with the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, there was a sudden jump in the production of carbon dioxide because of our industrial usage and use of petroleum fuels. So this is a most potent greenhouse gas, and also I have said earlier that there are other like methane and also nitrous oxide and chlorofluorocarbons and water vapor. All these are potent greenhouse gases. So what also we need to understand is that the human production of carbon dioxide, through human activities, they are, that is at least, so many times greater than the volcanic CO2. Even the volcanoes also emit carbon dioxide over the geological period. But here in this case, what is happening is that, there's an accelerated rate of addition of carbon dioxide. That's the problem now. So what is this climate change? Because there is already, you have a consensus over, the research that has been going on for many years. And, just now we know that there is, because of the human use of fossil fuels, and that's because of that we release a lot of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And, these gases trap the heat and, and it is radiating back onto the earth. So this is essentially anthropogenic. It's a human-induced catastrophe that is, now coming up into engulf the earth. So I'll just move very fast on this slide because I don't have much time. As you can see that, you have this carbon dioxide, after this must be the, the period during which, we started having this industrial production. And there's a sudden jump, you can see the spike there. Then you see the equally important is the methane and the nitrous oxide. All these are going up in a very faster, accelerated manner. And you can see that, all this temperature, and you have, global sea level change that is also occurring. And at the same time, the glacial, the glaciation in many parts, you are actually losing the ice because of the temperature rise. So you can see here, you see there, at what time of the period, this whole thing has going up, and you see that even going back in geological period, this has become a sudden jump. So this is a whole problem. There is an accelerated rate of rise in carbon dioxide, and that corresponds to the rise in temperature. So the global sea level rise is also another, because we are talking about the integrity of land. So we have to worry about all this. So you have this global sea level rise, which is, actually 5 times faster during the last, say 20 years or 30, 40 years than during, the previous 850 AD to 1850. So that is the other issue that is involved here. And because of that, you see that the water stress, also because of the global temperature rise, you have the water stress that will just become a problem for the farmers and also for other water use such as groundwater, drinking water and all that because of the higher temperature. And you can see here that India is one area where you find this is going to be a huge problem. Like some of the countries in the African continent, India is closely following them in the water stress issue. And this is actually come out by NITI Aayog report, by the Government of India report, that no access of drinking water by 2030, and for majority of the people, and major cities already run the risk of dry aquifers. And you can go to Chennai or Bangalore or other cities where we already face the problem of dry aquifers. So again, according to the World Food Programme, the countries such as India, Zambia, Myanmar, Egypt, Botswana will join the list of countries facing adverse food security. So here the question is like, we are talking about Vikasit Bharat, the developed Bharat, in terms of possibly, as I understand, in terms of GDP. Maybe, like in another 20, 30 years, you're going to be the front-ranking country as in terms of GDP. But have we thought about all these issues? Water stress, and we are talking about the food, and the heat index, all that. So, see, when we talk about Vikasit Bharat, these concepts also have to be included in that. So how are we going to face those kind of challenges? So you see, look at Mumbai. This is again a study which is a projection, and you can see all that red patches where by 2050 the areas that are going to be inundated. So the richest people live in this city, and none of their properties are going to be saved, even though they are the richest people. This is a kind of challenge that we may have to take into account for the younger generation or the generations to come. Again, if you go back to the Bangladesh and Bengal coast, Sundarbans, for example, is one area where they already face a lot of issues related to sea level changes and inundation. So again, the question is the forest cover. We are talking about the integrity of land. And you find that, there is a report which claims that, we have a report saying that, we have improved in the forest coverage, stunted forest. But there are issues involved with the report, and that many experts have actually questioned that. And although officially we claim that India ranked globally in the front-ranking country in terms of forestation, it's actually we are going down in the case of the forest. The problem is the methodology that we are following, and the experts say that we also include coconut, oil palm, and rubber plantation as part of the forest coverage. So again, it's a question of methodology, and we need to understand more about what is happening to our forest here. So I'll come back to a couple of cases here where we are getting into more problems in terms of forestation. So the air pollution, as you know, I don't have to mention this because this has been covered by the newspapers and media. And you know that Delhi is one of the worst cities in terms of air quality index. And the reasons are again very interesting in the sense that people officially they say that it's a stubble burning that is the major reason for air pollution in stubble burning in neighboring states is the cause for the air pollution in Delhi. But actually the problem is the Delhi has one city which has got maximum number of coal-based power plants, and we have not been able to install these sulfurization processing machines there, so that whatever that is being expelled, the pollutants could have been avoided, which we have not done because it's very expensive for the people who have, because many of them are owned by private people, and they don't want to probably invest so much money in that, because already the government has come out with a policy that over 10 years or 15 years we are going to do away with power plants, coal plants, because of our international commitments. So these guys don't want to invest money on that. So that is one reason why it is being, the pollution is high in Delhi because of that. Then, again, another source of pollution is the waste to energy plants there. Again, it is given to our private companies, and they don't want to invest money on many of these methods that could have been introduced to solve the pollution that is coming out from those plants. So what they did is they said that we are going to have green crackers. The green crackers, as you know, that it's not going to solve the problem, which we have already seen. Now, the point I want to come up here, tell you here is this, that is, actually we are shying away from the real problems and that's going after some of the other issues which are not very important from the air pollution point of view. I'm just rushing the slides. Again, the other issue is that, we have Living Planet Index, which actually singled out India for the disappearance of wetlands. So you go to the cities like Bangalore, Chennai, or other parts of the other cities in India, what we find there is most of the land has been taken over by built environment, and that has been done after on the top of the wetlands, which is filled with sand or mud or stones. So what we have done there is, whatever wetlands are there, these are the repositories or the places where water will go and collect, and this has been utterly destroyed in many cities. So like I want to tell you that in China they are developing sponge cities, where they want to bring in this concept of wetlands where, even in cities, where they want to see that, the excess water is being collected and drained towards the wetlands. So again, I want to show you some issues involved with the Himalaya here, because Himalaya is again considered to be a hotspot environmentally, and even in terms of biodiversity. So if we are not able to keep the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, we might lose about 1/3 of ice there. That's a very, very serious issue here again. Like most of the water that is rivers that is coming out from the Himalaya, not only to India but other countries, because that's a major source of rivers in that area, are going to get less water. So that includes Ganga. It's a very important, because it's considered to be a holiest river. So if you're going to lose so much of ice, this will have an implication for the availability of water, especially in the North Indian part. As you know that, we have gone through a number of series of mishaps and accidents and destructions involved, associated with dams. And why this is 23 April, which is Tista Dam in Sikkim, where the dam which is constructed was completely destroyed because of the debris flood, which has impacted the structures. So this is again an issue which is involved actually with the recession of glaciers. So that is where the global warming is getting important as an issue for this area. So the question again is, whether construction of some such dams across the rivers in this area is a reasonable proposition or not. So does it have, I can show you that slide where it tells the government, like in Uttarakhand, is planning to construct a huge, series of dams across many rivers in the state. Whether it is sustainable is the question. So again, it started with 2023. We had an opportunity to go and visit all this area during that time with a team instituted by the government of India. We saw all this area, and it's again, actually I started with the recession of the glacier above the Kedarnath temple. But the debris came and got collected behind the dam. So again, that was when people started wondering about the efficacy of hydroelectric projects in these across these rivers, whether that is sustainable. And that huge flood and the resulting loss of life, we all know about it. Then again, 2021, you have Rishi Ganga, flash flood. It claimed again a lot of lives. Again, that series of tragedies in this area actually now is coming to haunt us. So if you look at this map, it's an original plan introduced or provided by the Uttarakhand government initially, and you can see all those dots, small dots that is drawn across the rivers. These are the kind of massive number of dams that the government was initially considering. They have not given it up. They have it. When we say Bharat Mata and all that, this is where our love should come from. We have to see what we are doing with our terrain. So the government, Uttarakhand government still is pushing for all this number of dams, although the Supreme Court has stayed some of them because of some of the petitions filed there. And still, the central government has not approved the recommendation yet. But still, the negotiation and discussion is still going on. Is it sustainable for this, for all this area? So again, our competitor in this is China, right? In Arunachal Pradesh, on the other side of the border, they are constructing one of the largest dam. On Indian side border, we are actually also planning to construct a big dam. So actually, we are actually competing with a country that is known for this kind of dam construction. But again, we have to understand, I've read this news, and so there are a number of hydropower stations across Yangtze River, and they had to blow up 300 dams. This is a recent news. Why did they do it? They found that the fish population, is an effort to restore the fish population and other related biodiversity in that water body. So they had to do this. So these are the kind of things they do. I mean, if you are competing with them, we should also learn things from them on this side also. Again, we all have this, we want to save rivers, we love rivers, and we even, revere the rivers, because some of them are considered to be holy and called, like Mother Ganga. And, again, the question again is, why do we also have a huge program on the restoration of Ganga Basin, starting from not this government, but previous government. But have we reached, got anything out of this? I mean, like how much we have improved the quality of water or the flow, the river flow. So again, we don't have to move away from the facts. We need to go back and look at this critically and understand why so much of money is invested in that. Still, the conservation is not able to achieve the goals. So the important thing about river is that we need to understand that river has to flow freely. So that's one fundamental thing. Are we able to sustain the river flow or not? So all this construction of dams and even the aquifer, the groundwater aquifer, even Ganga is fed by aquifers, while it flows. Not just the glaciers. It is the aquifer that also the aquifer gets replenished during rain. And when it is the replenishment is higher than what the ground can store, it will flow into the water. So the important thing about restoration of river is also the sustaining the groundwater. So again, there is a book, River of Life, by Victor Malt. In that he asks a very pertinent question. How can the Ganges be worshipped as a life-giving force by so many Indians and simultaneously abused by the same people? So the picture that you see there is not, we are not actually behaving like people who love the rivers. We are actually polluting the rivers. So, in fact, Ganga was classified in category, in terms of coliform bacteria levels. As you can see that level is too high to be considered to be safe even for agriculture use. So this is where we stand, despite our love for the river. So again, I wanted to go into details all this, but I don't have time. But I'll just rush through this. Again, the Chardam project here in Uttarakhand has invited a lot of criticism. I am one of the persons who actually criticized from the very beginning, and there are so many others in Uttarakhand who actually have gone to the court and given petitions against all this. But nothing much has happened. The authorities went ahead with this in widening the streets. I mean, you can see that yesterday when I was coming, I could see that every point you can see the landslides. The boulders coming down. So I came here after a long gap. There never used to be like this on the road. So it's all because of the widening of if you want to widen the road, you also have to cut the slope. And cutting the slope is, you have become very steep. So the steeper slope, provides more fodder for landslides. So this is, again, not a properly done project, and even the environmental assessment has not been done properly. We have find out ways of, glozing over the environment. through certain clauses, and we got this done. So you can see, this is all, there is a rationale behind all this. This is to increase the revenue. The revenue is increased through tourism. And here what we have come up with is just not the mere tourism here. We have also come up with the shrines. The shrines are joined by this wider roads, so the people from the plains can come here in lakhs. So this is what has happened. So where are we now? People who are living in the hill states are now suffering for whatever is happening now. So you see the kind of congestion that is happening now because of the traffic. So almost, the year-long kind of a thing that has become. So the Kedarnath, again, the number of, you can see the number of pilgrims. Never used to be like this. You see the garbage in one place. I mean, just wanted to show you a picture to impress upon the kind of wastage that is being generated all over the side, all over the Himalayan sides. What are we going to do about this? So this is mainly because we have increased the number of tourists who have come and started, disposing the waste there, and this is not being recycled, not being removed. So we call this as Devbhumi. That's also there. So again, another hotspot now being under assault is the Great Nicobar Island. You can see that it's because there is a international container transshipment port that is proposed there. So we are actually just coming up with some reports which is glozing over all environmental issues, which is a very, very, it's a huge disaster that's going to take place in the sense that, this is one of the, in terms of biodiversity, the UN has actually recognized as a big hotspot. And we are disturbing that. So much of, endangered species are going to be affected, and including the leatherback sea turtle and the other species there. Then you have Champans and, other tribals who are going to lose their land. So all those is going to be going to an extinction. So this goes against many of our, even, the clauses in our constitution. So we are just passing those, ignoring those, or trying to find out some excuses to ignore that and trying to bring this thing. So all this, like whether it is a Chardham road widening or whether this is a port, what we are going to say in the court is that, this is for national security. So the question is, national security, environmental security is as important as national security. So the point is, we need to understand, the balance of all this. We cannot just go on trying to add things to this very fragile environment and to expect that, things will be okay. That is not going to happen now. So again, now what we have, in the balance sheet is that there is a degraded land. India has the maximum extent of degraded land. You have the forests are vanishing, wildlife is vanishing, contaminated water. We are under a very high, going to be under water stress. Then we have a polluted air, which again we rank high in the world ranking. And also, because of the collateral impact of large-scale infrastructure projects. So that's again, we need to understand the relation between this kind of implementation of infrastructure, big, huge infrastructure projects, which is not suitable for such fragile, environmentally sensitive areas. And again, the question is, we need to understand whether the current development paradigm is, has actually accelerated these changes and creating more and more problems for us. So this is where the problem is. Like when you talk about our side of the Himalaya, whether Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand or Sikkim, what we are saying is that China is doing all this. They are going ahead with roads, widening the roads and all that. Tibet, for example, they say. But the point again you have to remember is that our side of the Himalaya is different. because there's more fragile Himalaya, because we have got more loose rocks, geology is different. The other side of Himalaya on the Chinese side is flattened, and this is mostly crystalline. So this is what we have to remember. So when you compare this, then we have to also remember that, geologically our side of the Himalaya is more fragile. So again, a couple of slides only, I'm just going to wind up. So the biggest challenge here, again, we need to identify a development pathway, that will lead to a greater equity, growth, and sustainability. Again, here, the equity, the earlier panelists, people who were in the morning session were talking about the equity. Who is going to suffer more? The poorest people are going to suffer more. And among the poorest people, who is going to suffer more there? That is mostly women. When I come to Himalaya, I can see most of the women are always walking around for water. It's not the men who are doing it. So here, the problem is there is a gender inequality, there is a economic inequality. All these are the byproducts of the crisis that we are facing now. So the important thing is, for Himalaya, again, that was mentioned in the morning session about the carrying capacity of the region. It's very important to understand whether the Himalaya on the Indian side has the carrying capacity as the Himalaya on the Chinese side. So our carrying capacity is minimal here because of the geological reason. So this is again a book which I thought I will show you because all of you are geographers. German is a geographer, and he has written many books like this. And this is one book which I thought which I should bring into your attention, because he has said that, he has actually studied some of the previous societies, and historical societies, and they say that, why some of the societies collapsed. Some of them sort of, came back also. Here, the collapse actually happened because of the certain tipping points. So the tipping points happened to deforestation, habitat destruction, then the soil problem. The soil salinization and the soil fertility. Like soil salinization is a huge problem in many parts of Sundarbans. Fertility, and even in Rajasthan, you have huge problem of water, arsenic problem, and many other parts of the country. So these are all very pressing problems that we need to face up and find out certain mitigation methods and, find out a way of long-term sustainability. Then other tipping points like water management problem, again, we have it now here. Then overhunting, then overfishing, then, like some of the introduced species, also create problem to the native species. And that, again, now what we have is that, anthropocentric climate change, and there is a lot of issues associated with that. So are we closing enough to get into a tipping point or not is the question. That is what he has actually discussed in this book, The Collapse. So again, there are studies that are taking place now, and whether we can issue any early warning signals to indicate whether systems such as, like Greenland ice sheets, like Atlantic meridional overturning, the ocean circulation patterns, are they all nearing the tipping points or not? But the scientists say that we are nearing the tipping points, but we cannot say when that is going to happen. So this is what it is. We need to mitigate or face the climate crisis through different methods. So the important thing one is the mismanagement of the natural system, which we are doing now. And the settlements, again, if you look around, you can see that many of them are sprawling out to geographic areas where natural hazards occur. I am an earthquake scientist. I know that, the biggest earthquake that is going to happen in the future is going to be around this area. So I used to shudder, what is going to happen because it's not like 1950 where you had a big earthquake in, Arunachal Pradesh, and the built environment that time was not as extensive as now. So again, how do we reduce the vulnerability? That is another question. So there has to be, an intersection of hazard with exposed people and assets. This is again the same point which I mentioned earlier. So the question again is, there are a lot of interesting discussions that is taking place these days about what path we should take for the question of development. So can we have a growth without prosperity? Our prosperity should not be counted in terms of GDP. There's other measures that we can use, because when we say that people in Bhutan is happy, because in happiness index, we say that Bhutan ranks maybe in the top ranking countries. But in terms of GDP, in terms of industrialization, all that, they're very poor. So, but still people are happy. Can we say the same thing about our people? Although we claim that, we are fast moving up in GDP scale. So these are again, there was a recent paper in even journal Nature, they are talking about this prosperity without growth. This is the earliest book which actually discuss about this. It's by Tim Jackson. So he argues whether we can actually, the core of the debate is like, you cannot have an endless growth exploiting the finite resources of Earth. That is the fundamental thesis of this discussion. So that's it. Thank you so much.